Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Have you ever knitted something, whether it's a garment or a shawl, whatever, pair of gloves, a hat, and you grabbed a ball of DK yarn, that's what the pattern called for, but the results you got were very, very different. Either really small or way too big or just way too drapey. You needed something with more structure, or maybe it wasn't drapey enough. Well, the reason that happened is probably because you didn't substitute the yarn correctly. I used to think that it was as easy as saying yarn A that they're calling for is a DK weight yarn, and yarn B, the one I want to use, is a DK weight yarn. Therefore, I should just be able to swap those out with no issue. But that is actually not the case. There's more than just the weight of the yarn that you need to take into account when you are substituting yarns. Now, I have a really good example because recently I started a test knit. It is the Ewa by Moonstruck Knits, and it calls for Sandus Garn Lena. That's what she used. And if you read the band on Sandus Garn Lena, it calls itself a worsted weight, but guys, this is a DK. I'm just saying, it's a DK. You can probably get a worsted weight gauge out of it, but you can also get a DK weight gauge. So the ball band tells you that this is 110 meters per 50 grams. So that's 220 per 100. And 220 is right on that line of you can get a DK or you can get a worsted gauge depending on the needle size. And this tells you exactly that. It tells you that it is 20 stitches per 10 centimeters or 4 inches on a 4 millimeter or US 6 what's it called, needle size. There you go. And so that's right around 20 stitches is right around a DK. I'd expect a worsted to be more in the 18, but depending on how loose you knit, you could probably get that. Now, she actually has you do a little different gauge, and I don't remember what that is, so I'm going to pause for just 1 second while I grab the pattern to see what that gauge is. Should have come prepared, sorry. All right, I'm back. Pattern notes in hand. Sorry about that. But what she calls for, she does call for a 20 stitch gauge, which I was thinking that was right, but I didn't want to misspeak. It is a 20 stitch gauge, but she uses a 3.5 millimeter or a US 4 needle size. So it's a couple of sizes down from what they are saying they get a 20 gauge out of, which is the 4 millimeter or US 6. So 20, it's right there, right in the middle. You could call it a DK. You might be able to call it a worsted. Be that as it may, it is a 20 stitch gauge. All right, so I did not have enough of this at that time in my stash, so therefore I couldn't use this. I had another yarn in mind, and it also is a DK or it gets a DK gauge. You can use a 4.5 or a 5, and you can get 20 stitches. Okay, 20 stitches. That's the gauge. It should be good, right? But that's on a 4.5 or a 5 millimeter. That's a much larger needle. Well, that's okay. And it's 100% cotton. Now, the other thing it tells you is this is 140 meters per 50 grams. So it's a thinner yarn. And it's a thinner by quite a bit, because whenever you extrapolate that out to 100 meters, now you're talking about 280 versus 220. So now you're at 60 meters over the yardage. That is quite a bit of a thinner yarn, even though it still says it gets the same stitch gauge. Well, then I had another one in mind, And I said, well, I can just grab this Viking Garn bamboo, because guess what? It is exactly 110 meters to 50 grams. So it is the exact same weight of yarn. It's the same thickness and everything. But this one tells me that on a 4 millimeter needle, a 3.5 to a 4, you get 22 stitches. That seems a little weird to me. Why wouldn't it be the same? And then finally, I'll get to what I actually decided to use. Now I will show you, I did a couple of swatches in the cotton, and it's okay. I didn't love this fabric. I did a couple to finally get gauge. I did finally get gauge, but I didn't like the fabric. I didn't like how gapey that is. You can see, I mean, you can see my face moving behind this as I hold it up. You can see my mouth moving. I don't want that gapey of a fabric. And this is after blocking, so it's not blooming out. This was not gauge. This was much smaller. And while you can see it through the eyelets, you can't really see through the fabric. I like this fabric better, but it was too small for the pattern. And it's a test knit. I'm not going to just do my own thing as far as gauge. If it wasn't a test knit, I might. So that kind of ruled that out. I already kind of knew that it was going to be ruled out as soon as I started looking at the sizing, because while it's still in the same weight category there, it is a much thinner yard, because it does have 30 meters more per 50 grams. And when you get in more and more, it's just smaller and smaller. All right, so I ruled that one out pretty quick. And guys, I turned my house upside down. I do not know what I did with that bamboo swatch. I'm going to blame it on my brother's cat. My brother brought his cat with him when he came up here. I'm going to swear that the cat hid that swatch. That's what we're going to go with. But what I will tell you is I did get gauge with that swatch. And it was a beautiful fabric. But it was too drapey. 100% bamboo, it's pretty drapey. And so it just did not have the structure that the pattern needed. This pattern is a beautiful lace panel, and it's surrounded by eyelets. It is just absolutely gorgeous. And I will stick a picture up here. I'll go pull it off of her Instagram, so I make sure I'm not sharing anything that she hasn't shared publicly. But it's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. But if it's too drapey, you're going to lose some of that beautiful lace detail. So I went back to my stash, and I dug in, and I knew that I had some drops fell. And I had several different colors. I had, I think, 4 different colors: a navy blue, this red, a pinkish red, and then a like petrol color. I asked the group, everybody agreed it should be red, which is what I really wanted to knit it in. And the reason that I really wanted to use this is because while it's a little bit off as far as yardage, because this has 120 meters per 50 grams versus 110, those are close enough that they can be changed. And you're not going to notice a lot of difference. Now this says it's a 21 stitch gauge with a 4 millimeter or a US 6 needle. I will say I got the 20 stitch gauge. That wasn't a problem. And why I really knew that these were probably fairly interchangeable is the content of the yarn. Okay, the yarn on both of them, I have 53% cotton on both. I have 33% viscose, which is a man-made bamboo, and then finally 14% linen. That is the same over both of them. This is a slightly lighter yarn, so a slightly thinner, not thin enough to matter. And guys, it's got the structure from the linen that you need. I mean, you can see that that's going to hold up versus this. And this is after blocking, and I pinned it to where it wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't roll and all that, and it still does. And this is the bigger one, that's the gauge. But you can just see, if I hold them, you can see this one is much drapier. It's 100% cotton. This one still has some integrity. So it makes a difference, guys. It's not just about the weight of the yarn, and it's not just about the meterage. Both of those things play into it, but the content also plays a large part. And I'm going to show y'all some other swatches that I have here just as an example of why it makes a difference what your actual content, your actual fabric content, your fiber content is in your wool or your yarn. If we were in Britain or over in Europe, that would have been the correct phrasing. It's wool regardless what it is. Here we just call everything yarn. Fiber content of your yarn has so much to do with whether you can swap something out. Yes, the length and the weight of the yarn, you have to be fairly close with those, but the fiber content plays such a large part in whether or not you can swap something. And I'm going to use some examples here. This is the swatch from my brother's sweater. I also brought what I've gotten done for him so that you can see that this is a pretty structured yarn. I mean, yes, it's got some drape, just like this has some drape, but it's pretty structured. You can see that stitch definition and just how pretty that is. Well, I also have one that's 100% alpaca, and it has cables as well. And you can see, beautiful. They're beautiful, but they are not as defined as those. Okay? The stitch definition is just not the same. And you can see the amount of drape that goes with this 100% alpaca. And then I'm going to show you what happens when you mix the two together. And this is where you can usually get away with having a blend substitute for 100% wool versus subbing 100% alpaca with 100% wool. If you want some of the qualities that you get from an alpaca wool, like the drape, right? This is such a nice, and the softness, this is such a nice fabric. This is a 65 wool, 65 wool, 35 alpaca blend. And you can see it's got the wool characteristics. You've got the beautiful defined stitches, and it's got the alpaca drape, and it's also got the alpaca softness. It really softens up that wool. So if you really, really want to sub alpaca for a wool because you want the softness and the drape and everything else, but you're thinking, I'm going to miss out on some of that stitch definition, look into blends. Now, you do need to make sure that whichever one you want to be predominant. So if you're looking for the stitch definition that comes from 100% wool, you're going to want a heavier wool. But if you're really, really focused on the drape and the softness, then you want it heavier on alpaca. And if you're subbing a 100% alpaca, is what the pattern calls for, and you want to sub a mix because you want a little more integrity, make sure that the alpaca is the main part of the blend and the wool is there as a supporting character instead of the wool being the main character and the alpaca being the supporting character. All right, I hope that this helped a little bit for you to understand when you can and cannot sub yarns. Now, having said that, it is your knitting. You do whatever you want to. You can 100% sub a 100% alpaca yarn for a 100% wool yarn, even an Icelandic wool, whatever you want to do. Just understand that the results are going to be different. And that is one of the main reasons that I swatch if it's a new to me yarn, so that I will understand what that fabric characteristic is about. It's not really about getting gauge as much as it is seeing how that fabric reacts. All right, well guys, I hope that this helped y'all out in your future endeavors of substituting yarns.